Hello, and welcome to your second notes of Unit 5, which is all about ATP. Last class, you learned about photosynthesis, which is the process by which plants use sunlight to create chemical energy. This class is entirely focused around energy. So, your cells need energy to do work. Energy, or metabolism, is a characteristic of life, meaning all living things need to have the ability to obtain and use energy. Plants get energy from the sun, like we learned last class, through the process of photosynthesis. Your cells cannot do that. Your cells get energy from the food that you eat. So, what is the purpose of ATP? Cells do not use all of the energy available in the food when they eat it. So what they do is they store it in the form of ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate. ATP is the usable form of energy that cells have to be able to do the work they need. So, an ATP molecule looks like the image off on the right. It's made of one adenosine base. The body of it is a ribose sugar. And those three beads you see off on the left are the three phosphate groups. This is why we call adenosine triphosphate tri. If you think about a tricycle, it means it has three wheels. There is a triphosphate because there are three phosphates. So, how do we get energy out of ATP? Well, what happens is one of those phosphates, that third phosphate, is broken off from the second. When that bond is broken, energy is released, and it becomes ADP, adenosine diphosphate. Di meaning two, because now there's only two phosphates remaining. If you add a phosphate back on using energy from food, it becomes ATP again. So, in this example, energy is stored in those chemical bonds. When you break the phosphate, the energy of that bond you've broken is released. I like to think of those bonds kind of like pixie sticks. If you've never had one before, a pixie stick is a paper tube filled with flavored sugar. If you break it in half, like you can see in the top image, that flavorful sugar is released. Well, the same is true of those bonds. If I break that bond of the phosphate, then energy is released. So, what is ATP versus ADP? I like to chant, ATP is energy, because ATP is used interchangeably for the word energy when we're in biology class. ADP, diphosphate, once that energy bond has been broken, is a dead battery, because ADP doesn't have any energy usage for us. ADP can become ATP again if we charge it up by adding another phosphate. So let's review. ATP is energy. ADP is a dead battery. So, where do we get ATP from? Plants do photosynthesis where they convert light energy into chemical energy in the form of glucose. Plants and animals are going to break down that glucose into usable ATP, and this happens in the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell because it's responsible for making the energy. The mitochondria is able to make ATP through the process of cellular respiration, which you're going to learn more about next class.